Have you heard about this personal and professional podcast?
Coaching in Session
with your host, Michael Rearden.
There is an intersection of a person when it comes to if they're talented or if they're skilled. You have to ask yourself, well, what is the difference? I know when it comes to people in general, when they look at talent and skill, they look at maybe the show America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent. They say, whoa, these people are so talented. And then, of course, there's a whole audience or an entire audience of individuals there who say, oh my goodness, they can do things that I can't do. And that can be the discrepancy, right? They're talented, I am not. Of course, those people who are on stage is not so much that they're talented, it's more so that they have worked their way to that talent. They have become skilled. Now, there's things that they do is like, oh my goodness, let me hit this golden buzzard. But this, is this idea of they have perfected something to be so amazing. And we can say, or we can see it as, or say that it is talent. Like they are so talented because it's like they can do something so passionately. It's like an interwoven idea. But again, talent alone wasn't enough. I can go on and sing, I can go on and dance. It doesn't mean it's good. It's not so much only about the action. It's about how it is delivered. So we can figure out the end product. They probably have tried that act hundreds, if not thousands of times to perfect it. And that perfection is what we see and is what we say, hey, they're so talented. But we all have that ability. We all have that ability to get to that talent. We can say that I have talent, not America has talent, not Britain has talent only. I can have the same talent, but it has to be derived by an ambition for me to say that I want to build the skills in order to get to that talent. However, there is a discrepancy that we have to be looking at. And today we're going to be looking at that discrepancy. Can we lean on our talent alone or can we lean on our skill alone? Because if we are leaning toward one or the other, can it transcend us to mastery in a sense? Because our goal is not only to be adequate all the time, it is to excel. When you're trying to be successful in a career, you need to find something to excel in, something that's going to differentiate you between everyone else. All of your competition doesn't matter. There's competition all the time. Different sports teams, different businesses, builders, different life coaches, different accountants. There's so many different people. What sets you apart? Is it talent or is it skill? Or is it a mixture of the two? How can we learn to master what we are trying to bring and express in the world? Well, today I have a great read. Talent versus skill, how mindset shapes your potential. This is going to be something that you need to be looking at very closely. Because if you are a person that says, man, that person is so talented, right? Your mindset is automatically shifting to a negative status. They are talented, I am not. Now, I'm not saying that you're not talented, that you can't do things, but now you're automatically setting yourself apart. I have so much work to do because I have to catch up to this person. So now you're in this competition bias of this person is so far already. I have so much further to go. This is a journey now for me. This is an obstacle. This is, something that I don't know if I want to partake in long term because most people, they want the good things in life, but they don't want to put into work. Talent is just given to you. However, skill is something you earn. It's something you work toward, something you build. It's not something that's just saying, hey, take this skill and you're good to go. It is something you have to work on, you practice, you get mentors maybe, and you try and maybe even you fail, but then you succeed also. Success, for example, right? Success, literally just a compilation of failures. It's figuring out what doesn't work and even figuring out what works. And you do things that work more and then of course, you reach success. Was it Thomas Edison? He created the light bulb and I think he had like 1,000. But it's a lot, right? Still a lot of failure. But yet, when it comes to his mindset to the failure, he basically said, I didn't fail. So I just figured out what didn't work. So he has a different mindset. I'm figuring out what doesn't work versus I failed so many times. Now, failure can be a negative emotion. Now, that negative emotion can be powerful. Remember, I talked about the idea of like a positive and negative and how negativities can be powerful because negativities are more powerful than positives. Negatives are 3 times as more powerful to our positive counterparts. Now, of course, we want our positive counterparts to outweigh the negative counterparts. But if you know and you have a strong mindset, again, you can leverage negativity. But I don't recommend it to just everyone, right? You have to have a good, strong mindset. You have to be a go getter. You have to be a person who doesn't mind to fail, who doesn't mind to go through the obstacles and the challenges and to be resilient. That person can leverage negativities. But for most people, I would say about 60 to 80%, depending, they're not going to want the negativities. They want the good. They want the flowers. They want the scented candles, right? Path on life. There's nothing wrong with that path. It's just that you have to be more meticulous in the things that you do. You can't allow comfort to seep in at those points because when you're trying to get to the next level, talent alone is not going to be it. Because even if you were that person that decided I'm going to walk on this path of easy, talent is going to be something that is like this innate thing, right? Maybe you just have this inkling. Maybe you're a good artist, or maybe you are a good musician. And it's like you pick it up very quickly, right? There's people who are just, I'm more left brain or I'm more right brain, right? Just our focus. I'm definitely more artistic in the sense of if I have to give myself, like a brain pattern. But the artistic aspect is not so much of me drawing or me playing music. It's me looking at life and creating a tapestry for it, creating the tapestry for other people to say, hey, let's paint something better for yourself. Let's look at the dream, let's look at the vision, and let's make it reality. That's where my mindset is. That's where my brain is. And to help people get there, we need to typically develop skills. So we look at skills essentially as, this persistent practice to ourselves, to our growth, to the mission or whatever, there are, our destiny. And we say, let's build ourselves up. Now, talent, as I said early on, is that, inherent intellectual ability is almost like, an automatic something, but skill can't be automatic. Skill is something you have to be methodical in. You have to say, you know what? I want to work on this. For example, let's use sports as an example. You might see these sports players who are going on court and they're like, boom, they're lightning. There's like, they're amazing. And you're like, whoa, I wish I could do that. Well, one day maybe they couldn't do that. You don't necessarily know how many shots they lost or how many attempts they tried in order to perfect what they could do almost effortlessly. We can look at Steph Curry. You don't have to like the guy, but he's a 3-point guy, half court guy, right? He could just toss it up and it goes in. This doesn't happen by accident. He built that skill. He knows his body. He knows his shot. Now, if I was trying to be Steph Curry and I'm over here throwing the ball up and I'm trying to get into the hoop, I'm going to have a lot more failures than Steph Curry has currently. However, if I practice like Steph Curry, if I have the mindset like Steph Curry and I keep being diligent to that, guess what? At some point, I'm going to be equivalent or better than Steph Curry because I'm building the skill. Most people don't want to build the skill, especially if there's a huge disparity in one person to the next. This person's so far ahead. For me to do this much work is going to take me 10 years. So people look at it that way. And I encourage people to not look at skill so much as in a year set. Oh man, it's going to take me 10 years to be better than my mentor or 10 years to be better than this player. It's a journey. So we begin maybe at level 1, right? We're just beginning, we're just starting. As we're moving and we're progressing, we might have talents that are latent, that are just there, that are low level, and we can leverage those things. Maybe they're passions, right? We can leverage the things that we're good at. And then we build on those talents, typically with skill. If you are trying to level up your skill, a great way to do that is to get a mentor, because your mentor is going to give you certain tasks, and the tasks are going to be something that are automatically going to raise your skill level. The skill level, it doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, you're going to run up the hill, or you're going to, hit this hammer 100 times, or you're going to, work on this mold or this clay pot, and you're going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it until it's perfect. It's not so much of that. It's also the concept of knowledge or wisdom. Both of those together, right? All of this is going to be like an accumulation of skill. Now, this idea of skill is something that you have to be a constant learner in, because the mindset of skill is a person of a growth mindset. I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm getting better. Now, if you are an adult, this is going to be easier to concept or to understand. If, as an adult, you have a career typically, maybe you have a job, right? But let's hope you have a career. If you have a career, think back in day one when you started your first day at the job. Maybe you knew how to do everything. Maybe you were really good, top of your class, right? Whatever. Did you learn anything in the past couple years of you being in the job, if you're new in the job? So did you learn anything, new skills, new programs, etc., right? Did you learn anything? Now, if you didn't learn anything, like let's say you went into a job and you didn't learn anything, well, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be there long term? Number one, because you should be in a job that you're growing in. You don't want to be a job that you're stagnant in, because if you are in that job that you're being stagnant, you're going to be calling me saying, hey, Michael, I feel stuck. The reason you feel stuck is because humans were not made to just stay in one place. We were always built to level up. There's no max level either. There's no cap. There's no level 99. There's always a new level. So when you hit that plateau, understand the only thing you have to do is break through. Skill is that breakthrough. Skill is the sledgehammer. Skill is the dynamite that's going to help you break through. You need to develop skills. And then it's not so much that you develop skills only in one area. It's that you become more versatile in different areas. And it's not so much people come to me because they want me to help them only with their life and their mindset. They want me to also help with their health, to get to better health, meal prep, to help find relationships, to help get to marriage. That's all one package. Now, how do I do that? This is literally just the mindset of understanding what people need to do in order to get what they want. It's not rocket science. If you want a better body, you look at your diet. You figure out your level of activity. If you want a job, you figure out who's hiring. If you want a career, you figure out your passion. Now, the passion alone can be the talent, but the things that you put into that, the hours, the days, the weeks, months, the years, those are going to be something that you can say created the level of skill that I am today. When you go for a job interview or something, they want your job history, and they want to see how long you've been in a career, or they have a certain requirement for the job. So let's say you want to be, in a marketing position or a manager position. They might say, we require that you have 1 to 2 years of work experience. Work experience is not talent. They are assuming those 1 and 2 years that you have been working as whatever it was, a manager, supervisor, a marketing, whatever, that is going to be now in their mind saying, okay, he is now skilled because he has spent 2 years, or she has spent 2 years in this field, in this craft. This is where we have to look at. Now, not saying that everyone who's been a plumber or electrician or carpenter for the past 10, 15 years is going to be good. I know there's carpenters, like growing up, when we had, people do work and stuff like carpentry work, they might have been doing carpentry for like 5, 10 years, and like literally their cuts of wood were crooked, and there's divots and there's cracks and stuff. And you have to ask yourself, what is happening? Are you not skilled enough? Typically, I don't think that was the case for most of them. I think they were all skilled to do a good job. However, they didn't want to do a good job. They didn't have the passion, the incentive to do a good job. They wanted to have a rush job, and they don't necessarily care about their projects and their the final result. It's like after this, I know I'm leaving and I'm not going to probably see you again. So I'm just going to kind of say, you know what? I'm just going to pick this project up and put it down, and I don't care how I put it down. This is the difference when you're trying to figure out who to hire, who to bring into your life, who to bring into your circle. Are they someone who's meticulous about what they're doing? Are they, a person that is being prideful in their work? Because if you can't be prideful in your work and you're just kind of moving through life, this is going to set you light years apart from the competition if you want to look at competition alone. So someone can be extremely talented, right? So this, someone is like super talented, right? They know how to play the piano, they can do everything, and it seems like they're so far ahead. But if that talented person doesn't do the work to stay in that position of talent, where talent was that beacon that made them like this person of like, whoa, you're talented. Michael Jordan, for example, he wasn't talented in basketball, but yet if I had to say one of the greatest basketball players of my time is not LeBron James, it's Michael Jordan. The reason I say that Michael Jordan is one of the greatest in my lifetime, at least, and it's not LeBron or some other player, is because Michael had the it factor. Michael didn't have the latent talent within him like some other basketball players did or does. And what the reason I say that Michael Jordan is the greatest of my time, at least, is because he had the it factor. It was not necessarily talent because he didn't make his high school basketball team. He failed. He basically just had the drive within him. He had the fire within him. Not saying that if you're a sports player that you don't have this naturally, right? Because most men are just going to be competitive in nature, right? And then if you work hard enough, your skill goes up, but there's always something that's going to differentiate you between someone else. So it's like you can look at one house and you could say, whoa, this house is very beautiful. And then you could look at another house and you say, this house is magnificent. And what makes a house, just beautiful and different from magnificent? It could be the same with a basketball player, it could be the same with a company. And literally, you look at all the finer details, the character, who they were as a person. I'm not saying that they're different as people, but we can look at LeBron and how the, I guess, mentality of being a celebrity gets to him sometimes. And I understand, being a celebrity can be annoying. But when it comes to, Michael versus LeBron, Michael understand that, way more than LeBron, that, this right here is a work of art. I'm an artist and I'm going to figure out who on my team, who I need to, get to be on my team, Scottie Pippen, and I'm going to use my players to create a masterpiece, right? That's how he got all his rings. LeBron, he was on the Heat, and then eventually he went to I think it was the Lakers, right? So he went from the Heat to the Lakers. So like he's like, hey, I'm I'm talented, right? I'm skilled, but I can't bring people together and make a team. That's the difference, right? If you're trying to set yourself apart, you have to have the glue also. You have to be able to create something, right? You can't just get all the wood. You just can't get all the pieces. You have to be able to assemble it. And when you assemble it, it has to be good. It can't be like that 5 or 10 year carpenter that just kind of does a job and the job is not even that great. You can see all the imperfections. There's too many imperfections. So talent is not going to only get you there. You need to be able to see the growth. You need to be able to be skilled enough, or maybe if you want to consider it talent, but it is more so of a skill, figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And you bring people together. Because I think Michael had a talent to bring people together. But the skill for basketball, he had to develop. He had to lean on his coaches. He had to, Phil and Tim and all of these people who helped build him up. This was skill, right? And then his determination along with that journey to get to that point was definitely not something to cough at, right? He had to go through it, right? Looking at Kobe, for example, he always made sure he practiced more than everyone else. It's funny because I know when Kobe was still alive and he did interviews, people asked, "Hey, Kobe, do you have a rival?" He says the only rival I think I would have retired. And they was talking about Michael. Michael had the it factor. Because when he looked at, LeBron, and when he looked at other players, Steph Curry and, Kevin Durant, he didn't say, these people are competition. Yeah, like I am already ahead, right? I'm winning the race. He wanted to look at competition of who's in front of me, right? It's very interesting to look at talent versus skill because we're trying to figure out the process to get there. But the process is very simple, right? We have to set incremental goals. We have to seek feedback. And then we have to challenge and we have to look at the different opportunities that are going to get us there. So this article right here, looking at the idea, how mindset shapes your potential, this is going to be a wonderful read. And it's a simple read because the idea of talent is more so of a fixed mindset where this is where you begin. Talent is fixed. Now, of course, you can level up and you can become skilled, and both put together can, set you apart. I remember when I started to play guitar, or, when I was learning, I was not good in the beginning. I was not talented in the beginning. I played guitar about 8 hours a day. My fingers were like literally like needles, like you were sticking needles in my fingers, and it so much. And I could only imagine most people would stop because they say, oh, my pain, my fingers, I don't want to feel this pain. But you know what I did? The next day I practiced 8 more hours, and I practiced 8 more hours the following day. And then the week, I did the same thing every single day. And I kept practicing, I kept learning. And then I developed the skill to play guitar. It wasn't a talent. I had to work to get it. I remember my grandma Faye, she was like, oh, you're so talented. And I'm like, no, I'm not in my mind. This is skill. I work for this. And sometimes when it comes to something you work for, you have to give yourself the mindset or the idea. Is this a good thing to work toward? Is learning this skill beneficial long term? Because you could be real skilled at video games. You could play a lot of video games. Say, I'm the most skilled Call of Duty player in the world. But is that skill relatable to other areas of your life? Because you can have skills that are not going to be meaningful in your endeavors to success, to happiness, to fulfillment, whatever. Or you can give yourself the skills. There's a difference between picking up skills that are going to bring you forward and skills that are going to keep you complacent. Because we can say that we're the best. But what does the best truly entail? Does it entail a paycheck? Does it entail, a livelihood or a lifestyle? Maybe it does. Most people, they become skilled enough. They might have a talent for it and they're really good in the beginning, but then eventually someone outworks them or outperforms them. And it wasn't because they were not talented. It was because they didn't put in the effort equivalent to what someone else wants. When you're going against the underdog, when someone is going for the championship belt, the champion is not the dangerous one. It's the person who would do anything in order to win. If they have put in the work and they now have the skills equivalent or greater than the champion, they are more dangerous. And it's in a sense because they are more hungry for it, unless the champion did not become complacent. You can't become complacent when you get to a good area in your life. When you got a good job, when you got a good relationship, when things are good. You have to be in a constant state of learning. Skill is that constant state of learning. So ask yourself, what skills can I learn today? What skills can I leverage to enhance my current situation? So depending on your field, what skills can you get or new skills can you get that's going to set you apart from everyone else? That's going to be your assignment today. I know this is not school or anything, but feel free to look at what skills are going to make your life better. You can look at your old talents and say, oh, I used to be good at art. You could say, oh, I used to be good at bowling. Oh, I used to be good at, gymnastics. And maybe your body has changed and maybe you can't do those things anymore. So you are having this new inkling, this new idea, this new passion, desire for something different, and begin that process for growth. skills are going to grow the more you use them. So the more you practice, the more you think about it, the more you educate yourself on the process, your skills are going to naturally grow. And that's what we're looking for, to get into that growth mindset. Because at the end of the day, if we can look at this article and we can look at talent versus skill and we can say, okay, cool. My mindset is going to be shaping my potential, that I am the key for that potential to be molded. So whichever path you're on, whichever desire you are vying for, understand that you are the person that can get there. And that is the mindset to it. Talent alone is not going to get you there, but skill is going to be that endeavoring process that's going to not only get you there, but keep you there. That is going to instill this idea within you that if I keep on pushing that, if I keep on making sure that I'm the leader, no one else is going to be able to catch me. It's not so much that I'm becoming skilled enough, it's that I'm leveling up every single day. Now, of course, maybe someone one day will want to outwork you. But if you ever see that, you have to say, I'm going to make sure I go 100% more than whatever they are doing, because they are not going to be able to catch me. Now, of course, this is a more competitive nature. There's a difference to the things that set people apart. You can just let talent alone be your guiding light. You can let the idea that you are skilled enough be your guiding light, or you can have that growth mindset of, even though I'm skilled, I'm not skilled enough yet. So keep on growing, keep on learning, and keep on prospering, talent versus skill, figuring out what's good for you and what's not good for you, and then lean on the building of skills, because it's going to get you a lot further than talent alone.